Alright, so in this video I'll go over the different kinds of batteries and which ones to use and which ones not to use. Bottom line up front is don't use alkaline batteries in any electronic that you care about, but we'll get more into it. So if you're like most people, you probably don't really put much thought into which kind of batteries you're using. You may go into a junk drawer and say, oh look, some batteries, and put them in whatever you need to. Without even thinking about it, which is fine for your everyday items like TV remotes or clocks or something. But for your more critical or expensive electronics, such as your thermal, your night vision, your comms, ear pro, flashlights, etc., you should use a much higher quality battery that's better suited for the job, and more importantly, one that won't ruin your device. Alright, so I made a little chart. Getting started, there are four major battery types. We have alkaline, lithium, nickel metal hydride, and lithium ion. Lithium ion is not the same thing as lithium. So getting started with alkaline, these will be a primary cell, meaning they are not rechargeable. They are excellent in price. You can get a lot of these for very little money, comparatively speaking. These are like your like average everyday pack of Duracells. I'll put a picture up. Stuff like that. They will say alkaline somewhere on the packaging of the battery if they are in fact alkaline. Their capacity is fair, not great. Shelf life is, good. I think it's 7 to 10 years is average. But the corrosive leak risk is the big thing that I want to talk about. So I'll put some pictures up. If you've ever seen battery corrosion or battery leakage that looks like this, this was recently on like my reloading weight scale. I left alkaline batteries in it for a long time, forgot about them, came back, and lo and behold, I have corrosive leakage. And it was bad enough that it, like fried the board or whatever inside of the electronic and ruined it. Now, those electronics are like $10. That's not a big deal. But if you can imagine the same thing happening to $5,000 night vision, that would be a much bigger deal. So because their corrosive leakage risk is a high risk just due to the inherent nature of the battery chemistry, I would recommend not using alkaline at all for anything that is remotely valuable to you unless you just absolutely have to. Moving on, their thermal venting risk is low. That's a property that's more inherent of lithium-based batteries. Their high drain performance sucks. So if you ever put alkaline batteries in like a Surefire or some high lumen device, flashlight, you will find that the performance is very bad. Their cold weather performance is poor. Their hot weather performance is also not great. Common everyday usages that you can use them for. I mean, like I said, remotes, clocks, toys, some types of radios, like things you don't care about. But in all honesty, just avoid alkaline batteries if possible. All right, so next we have our lithium batteries. These are also going to be primary cell, so non-rechargeable. Their price is fair. They're a little bit more expensive than most types of batteries, only because they work very well. Their capacity is excellent. Their shelf life is excellent. I think up to like 20 something years on the shelf. Corrosive leakage risk is low in these batteries. It's not really a common concern. What's more of a common concern with lithium-based batteries is thermal venting. If you've seen any of those videos or pictures of people's batteries catching on fire in the news and stuff, that's what they're talking about here. The way lithium batteries are made, thermal venting is always a risk, but it's not terrible, especially in high quality name brand batteries stored in reasonable temperatures, humidity, low humidity, etc. So just be aware of that. I'm just going to mark this as like a yellow one. Just like use caution and think about it. Their high drain performance is excellent. They have very low voltage sag across the board. Cold weather performance is excellent. Hot weather performance is excellent. They are high performing batteries. for use in high drain flashlights, cameras, cold weather gear, like whatever you want to put them in. There's hardly any downside. For tactical use cases, I labeled these the if your life depends on it, duty use batteries, put them in high drain devices, put them in long-term storage for like prepping. They have the longest shelf life of any battery on this list. So they have a lot of uses. They're kind of expensive, but you get what you pay for. All right, so next we got nickel metal hydride batteries. These will be our first secondary cell or rechargeable batteries. Their price is good. Capacity's good. Shelf life's good. Everything usually with these batteries is good, but not great or fantastic. Um, the corrosive leakage risk is low, similar to the lithium battery. It's not as common as alkaline batteries. Their thermal venting risk is also low. They're low risk, but also low reward. They work fine. I use them in training or for training purposes, just so I'm not constantly rotating through primary cell batteries. I can use these for a couple sessions and then charge them at home and then reuse them again. It's not a big deal. I usually carry two on me, so that way if one pair does in fact die, or like for my ear pro, for example, I use Eneloop, which is a very good rechargeable nickel metal hydride battery. I use Eneloops in my Peltors, and if they die, I have another two Eneloops in my backpack that I'll just replace them with. And then when I get home, I'll charge everything again. Their high drain performance is good. Uh, Cold weather performance is good. Hot weather, not the best either. But they're useful in many things, both in common everyday usages and tactical usages. So, in the tactical sense, like I said, training, they can be a cost-saving measure where you initially invest in a bunch of rechargeable batteries, and then over time, it'll eventually save you money instead of always buying primary cell lithium batteries, which can be expensive. So last, we're going to have our lithium ion batteries, and these are going to be the rechargeable versions of the lithium batteries. So most of the time, these types of batteries are built into the device itself, like our cell phones. But you can also have like external rechargeables, lithium ion rechargeables, such as the 18650s, um, power packs for power tools, stuff like that. So the price is going to be fair. The capacity is going to be excellent. The shelf life is going to be fair. They actually lose charge monthly, but it's not a linear relationship. But that's in the weeds. The corrosive leakage risk is going to be very low. That's pretty uncommon for these batteries, but the thermal venting risk is going to be high, at least highest of these four batteries. And that's because in the right conditions, lithium ion batteries can catch on fire, and that particular type of fire is difficult to put out. So I'm going to mark this one in yellow, just like as a use caution kind of thing. When you're using them, don't avoid these batteries just because of that, but just be aware of that battery's characteristic. If you've flown lately, you've probably seen the signs from TSA about lithium ion batteries. They probably asked you if you have any in your checked luggage. That's because they're concerned about the fire risk involved. But the high drain performance is excellent. So if you think about, high lumen flashlights, e-bikes, electric vehicles, even they work great for those. The cold weather performance is going to be fair, and the hot weather performance is going to be good too. From a tactical standpoint, these batteries probably best suited for duty use in supply limited environments. So like for some reason or another, you expect that you won't be able to go to the store and buy new like non-rechargeable lithium batteries, then these are a good replacement for that if your device is able to take them. And some devices are even specific to lithium ion batteries, meaning that they perform better, they get better lumens, they get better, you know, battery life in hours than their primary cell counterparts. But that's device specific. You can also use them for training and like as a long-term rechargeable solution, kind of like the nickel metal hydrides. So what should you use? If you don't want rechargeable batteries at all, you can just buy lithium primary cell batteries, buy a bunch of them, and then you don't have to think about it. Just change them out regularly. If you do want to include rechargeable batteries and you know how to recharge the batteries, you can include nickel metal hydride or lithium ion for either training or duty purposes. But what should you bottom line not use? Don't use alkaline in anything that you care about. That is all. Here are my notes that I used to create the chart that I showed you earlier. You can take a look at these if you care, and that's it. Also, quick side note, you should find a way or a system that works for you to store your batteries. It's really easy to lose them and forget about which device you put them in or whatever. So I just wanted to show you all this as an example. Here's my battery bank in the middle with all my different kinds of batteries inside of it, little notes I sketched or printed out, and a desiccant. Make sure to have a desiccant in there and that the container is airtight so that you reduce moisture and the batteries won't corrode. Also on the left is my universal battery charger. So it's a smart charger. It'll charge lithium ion and nickel metal hydride. It'll detect, what charge rate it's supposed to be charging at and safely charge your batteries. So I really like that charger. And then on the right, I have my battery go box. So this is the box that I put in my backpack or wherever I'm going. I take it with me, and I always take at least one set of extra batteries for each electronic that I'm bringing. So, for example, in this box right now, there's two AAAs probably for Ear Pro, one AA probably for night vision, and then one CR123 probably for my EOTech. And then there's a 2032 in there as well. I forget what that went to, but you catch my drift. So that's my system. That's how I keep track of all my batteries and how I carry them and transport them and store them.